We keep coming back to the COVID-19 winners, the companies that actually benefit from the pandemic. Tonight, I've got another one for you, Masimo. Here's a medical device company that makes non-invasive monitoring systems, especially pulse oximetry systems that take your pulse and monitor your oxygen levels. As the virus spread, we've needed a lot more of these machines because more ICU patients, well, means more sales. Plus, Masimo's come up with some new products, like a remote patient monitoring platform that allows healthcare workers to keep track of your vitals from a safe distance. Oh, in March, we learned that they're acquiring a German ventilator manufacturer called TNI Medical, something else we desperately need right now. No wonder the stock surged to a new all-time high today. Do not take it from me. Let's check in with Joe Kiani. He's the CEO of Masimo, which we've been behind for a very long time. Learn more about how his company's handling the pandemic. Mr. Kiani, welcome back to Mad Money.
Great to be with you, Jim.
Sir, I think that your company is performing a service that I want people to understand. It's two parts. One, I want you, and I've got the Masimo safety net, but I've also got the thing that I check 4 times a day, which is my Masimo pulse oximeter. One is that people don't realize that the pulse oximeter in many ways is more important than the thermometer. And second, people don't understand how contagious it is to go into a patient's room versus what you offer. Explain.
Well, we have been around for 31 years, as you know, Jim. As my wife said, it feels like everything we've done has been for this moment.
Yes.
From inventing a technology set, pulse oximetry, that works even when the patient's moving or has low blood flow, to making it tetherless, wireless. So as you said, you could put the patient in the room, let's say the ICU bed, bring the monitor outside of the room, and instead of walking into the room to check on the vital signs of the patient, which means you got to put the PPE equipment on and maybe waste what there isn't enough to go around anyway, you can now remotely monitor the patient. And when you need to go inside, you go inside the room to give care to the patient.
So I think, Joe, most people around the country do not know that it's that contagious and that 7 feet that they have to walk through can be a death sentence if they don't have the right equipment. And most people ran out of the right equipment very quickly because they never thought that you'd be so contagious to just go see the patient.
Yeah, it's really hard to put your head around that. But unfortunately, as a study at MIT showed, when someone sneezes or coughs, actually there's about 30 feet of air that will have the aerosol in it. Now, that wasn't the COVID-19 aerosol, but others. So 6 feet is really the minimum. So you need protective gear. And something you said earlier about the thermometer, unlike the thermometer, which any thermometer you buy, whether it's got a cool UI or not, is going to be accurate, pulse oximeters aren't all accurate. And unfortunately, even the good ones for the hospital suffer from patients moving or have low perfusion. And the knockoffs coming out of China, they can't even track desaturation, most of them.
Well,
so
it's funny you mention it. I brought a knockoff with me. I have a knockoff with me,
yeah,
Joe. You
good.
Can't see. And I tried the knockoff right. 3 times. I should be in a hospital right now. Then 3 times, I'm the healthiest guy in America. There is just a great difference. Now, one cost me, yours is down $30 on Amazon. I don't know what that's about, but this is not what you want. You want the complete system. One is just a thing. It's a gimmick. But what you did do is create this system you just mentioned where you can go home, this safer place, and monitor yourself. You can't be in that hospital once you have it in safety zone, right? You want to be monitored at home.
Yes, for many reasons. One, when the surge happened, like places in New York or Ohio, there weren't enough beds for every patient. So the same exact technology that's been used in hospital that we developed over 30 years ago, over 200 million people are being monitored. We now have made it possible to send patients outside the hospital, including the home, which you're probably the most comfortable in, and allow clinicians to remotely monitor you so that if you get in trouble, like some patients have, they can bring you right in. And if you're fine and recovering, you can be at your home where it's less chance of others getting your disease or less chance you getting other disease, and hopefully recover.
Well, we should talk about the safety net. And the reason why that's so important, explain to us, it has to do with the lungs are the pressure point here. Knowing how they're doing can really only be measured safely by a Masimo, correct?
That is correct. Like Dr. Peter Pronovost said on the webinar we did a few weeks ago, he said they can only do this because they trust our monitor to give them real actionable data and not have all the false alarms that even made pulse oximeters useless in the hospital's general ward, let alone miles away in a home setting where the clinicians can't get to the patient by a quick walk.
Well, Joe, you're a unique position because you see the order book. Are people pessimistic? Are the big hospital chains pessimistic or optimistic, judging by how much they're ordering from you?
Pessimistic. We got a lot of orders starting March, and April has continued, as I mentioned on our earnings call. And on Masimo SafetyNet, we only announced the full market release of this product a little over 2 weeks ago. And we went from, at the time, 2 hospitals implementing it, including the pilot hospital, University Hospital, who helped us tweak the product and get it ready for market. We've gone now to 81 hospitals implementing it and another 785 hospitals in the queue.
Is that because of that great video that you did? I mean, because I found that so compelling. It was like a fight, an ultimate fight, but it was so explanatory. They must be ordering off the video.
Well, it is, but it's also a really low-cost way to scale, a really good way to protect the patients and protect the care providers by sending them somewhere else unless they need to be in the ICU.
Wow. One last thing I should ask you, running out of time, but the ventilator acquisition, small but valuable?
Extremely. Look, first of all, this company makes the quietest, best high-flow ventilation, non-invasive ventilation. And this is humid air, creates its own oxygen, so it's cleared not just for hospitals, but home use.
Oh, okay.
And anecdotal data shows this product actually helps people with COVID-19 do better. Now, of course, in extreme situations, they'll need an invasive ventilator.
Right.
But if you can use this at the beginning and avoid them needing that invasive ventilator, it'll be phenomenal.
Oh,
now,
Joe,
the only
that's great.
downside, the only downside is that because you're not closing the loop, there will be aerosol in the room from the patient breathing out. So it might be more dangerous for the care providers. But at home, when you're sending these patients home with our Masimo SafetyNet to monitor them, if you send them home with these ventilators, prophylactically, they might help help the patient not need to come to the ICU.
Well, Joe, you're at the front lines, most certain, and your people have done terrific. I want to thank you so much for coming on and explaining why Masimo is just, yes, that you've worked your whole life for this moment. Congratulations. You've done it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Jim.
All right, that's Joe Kiani, CEO of Masimo, and it's an amazing company. Now you know why the stock has been so great. Stick with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.